Circle.
There we go.
Wow, we are live. Look at that. I'm not a complete failure. Figured it out
did
for
it.
once.
Don't sell yourself short, Adam. Don't sell yourself short.
That's right.
That's true. I can
Don't
still
roll it
figure out
out,
a way.
buddy.
Still figure out a way to be a complete failure at some point. I don't know if the link went out. Hopefully it did. I'm trying to see on Twitter
It did.
here.
Yep, you're good. You're good, buddy.
Awesome. Look at this. Look
Up
at
and
this. Awesome. So I'm going to send that out on Twitter, and we are good. All right. It is Law and Sporter on a Thursday night. Pitmaster Dan, we judge Dan Jacobs. Justin,
No,
I don't.
Hold on. We had a couple late replies this week on Twitter. I have absolutely zero legal credibility whatsoever because I'm a pitmaster. So just so you know.
I've been saying that for months.
That's true. That's true. So they're like, some people responded. I think they watched the replay. They're like, "Oh, good God! Please tell me more, pitmaster. Tell me your thoughts on life. You have all sorts of credibility. You're a pitmaster. Please." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
I actually, I read it the other way. I thought they were like, "Yeah, I do want my legal opinions from a pitmaster." I thought it was being complimentary.
No, I thought it was. Maybe I'm that thick-headed, right? They were like, "Oh, please tell me more about infectious disease, pitmaster."
Well, that was John Curtis. I do believe that was sarcasm.
Yes,
I do believe that one. But yeah, funny. John Curtis is actually he's known for being a food critic here locally, but he is a city attorney, city of Las Vegas attorney.
Oh, okay.
So, still practicing, but he is, I think, would you agree, Adam? Probably the best known food critic in Las Vegas.
Best known, sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know. I'm not a foodie, so I can't decide on who's got it right or who's got it wrong. But I would say he's the best known.
By the way,
yes,
I'm wearing my lock for you AFC West fans. My Locked and Loaded T-shirt in honor of Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater replacing Drew Lock in the AFC West.
Good media appearance today by Drew. Really played it up to the cameras well. That was impressive.
Yeah.
That is Dan on the. I think everybody's screen is set up right. Dan, you're on the bottom here. Justin Watkins, of course. I don't know how to describe this look. I like it. Big beard, impressive.
Well, yeah. This is me in my natural habitat. I don't wear my glasses very often because my eyesight is so incredibly bad, and I'm so farsighted that obviously you could tell it creates, because I'm not nearsighted like you, Adam. So your glasses make your eyes look smaller a little bit. My glasses make my eyes look way bigger, which isn't that bad because I got tiny eyes. So it's sort of okay, but it is so magnified that I can, I can burn ants with these suckers. I can do some damage. So this has been my prescription literally since I was a 2-year-old. I have never gotten better eyesight, and I was very happy the day I got contacts when I was 13.
First of all, you said my glasses make my eyes look smaller. That's not possible. My eyes are microscopic, which is
no, they're bigger without though.
Yeah, they make them look bigger. You're right.
No, yeah, mine look bigger. Yours look smaller because it brings you're nearsighted. I can tell.
Sure.
And so when I look through your glasses, everything's smaller in there, right? Mine, you can't even see the ends of my head because it's a big magnifying glass.
That's great. Did you guys watch Hard Knocks this week?
I have never watched a single episode of any Hard Knocks.
What a disaster. You're the worst. It's not the best season, but I only bring it up because there was a player that lost a contact. He's really fighting to try to make the team. He lost a contact, and then he dropped a pass because he couldn't see the ball. So he then went to Rec Specs, which are like the goggles that you wear under your helmet, and it was it brought up some memories for me as somebody who has horrific eyes, who played football, who also has a massive head. So I could barely get my head in the helmet anyway. But then when I tried to get the rec specs on, and I had the big, thick goggles, and I would try to put the helmet on, it was too close to the head, so the straps would just come down. I'd have to put them back in. Then they'd get all foggy, so I couldn't see anything. So one week I was like, you know what? I'm done trying to do this. And here's the other problem. You watch guys on the sideline, they're taking their helmet off, they're talking, they're, throughout the game. Once I put that helmet on an hour before the game, it was on. Like, I was not taking that thing off till after the game. So, I mean, it sucked. So one week I was like, you know what? I don't need it. I'm not wearing the glasses. I'm just putting the helmet on. And it was hilarity ensued. First of all, there was a fumble. I tried to jump on it. I think I jumped on air. I couldn't see the ball. Didn't know where it was. And then, even though it didn't matter, like, just play. But I'd like to look up at the scoreboard every once in a while. No idea how much time is left. No idea what the score is. Couldn't see anything. That was a disaster. Yeah.
I guess I don't know because, I have good eyesight, but like, and I know some people aren't eligible for LASIK, but like if you're a professional athlete, I don't know. Why would you have contacts at this point?
Yeah, I'm not eligible for LASIK. My eyes are so
exactly.
bad.
Well,
they won't touch them.
Is that why? Like, you're literally like, go home, son. Like yeah. Justin Watkins, we know you're insanely rich, but you can't even buy good eyesight at this point, Mr. Battleborn. Go home.
Yeah. It's funny. Thankfully, the sport I did, it's funny you talk about missing the contact. Like, I was a wrestler my whole life from the time I was 4 until I was 20 years old. And when I got contacts, it was wonderful because I'd always wrestle without my glasses, obviously. And I didn't wrestle with rec specs. That wasn't a thing. I start wrestling with my contacts, and I'd be one of those guys that, like, I'd lose a contact on the mat, lose a contact if I was tired, search around on the mat for the contact for a little bit, catch my breath, put a little imaginary contact back in my eye, call it good, we'll get back out there. But then sometimes I would actually, lose it out there. But thankfully, with wrestling, you can be virtually blind, right? Because it's more of a feel sport. It's very little to do with how you see, and any sort of hand-eye coordination. It's not that. You're going to feel it before you see it. Sorry, Brady. I'm just giving an example of something that could have theoretically happened. I'm not going to say it didn't happen.
By the way, if this is true, which I think it is because I just checked Twitter. I know you guys might not care. I have to ask King Cameron, however, is somebody recording this? Is this video going to be posted, or is it only going live? So if it's only live, I may have to leave and let you guys finish the show.
Just stream it on the show. Just put it right on the show. Let's look at it.
We have been waiting a long time for Kanye to finally put out this album. So I'll check it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to check it out afterwards. But apparently, he is streaming it finally live right now. At midnight, I guess he went with the Friday release.
Kanye's still a thing?
We, as hip-hop fans, Brady, we as hip-hop fans, that's...
what's funny? You know what's funny? My law firm, huge on the hip-hop stations here in town. Oh, huge, gigantic. The ads we run.
Oh, I was going to say, you guys advertise. I thought you all are just sitting around huge on the station listening to hip hop.
No. The ads
in the office.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. And I don't like music, so I don't listen at all. I just cut the ads, and we have this marketing campaign. We're the anti-TV lawyers, right? Because we have a few lawyers in town that are the TV lawyers, right? The strong arm and blah 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 blah, right? And so we about a year ago devised a marketing campaign. We're the anti-TV lawyers, and what we found was the most effective stations to run those are, it's actually pretty cool. Jammin', actually, Jeff Silver, I'll give him a shout out. He's the GM he's a big Raiders fan, actually, season ticket holder. He's real excited to go out and see, start going out there every other weekend or whatever. But we have Jammin', which is the hip hop station for guys that are our age, Justin, like Cool It Now, like, cool, those guys, like the songs when we were kids.
Are we the same age?
Yeah. Well, how old are you? 46?
You're younger than me, right, Justin? I think you're younger than me.
No, I think you're a year younger than me. You're class of 98, right?
97.
I'm
96
also.
I'm 96. Yeah. So we're all about the same
Yeah.
age.
No,
So
you're 46 and you're a class of 96?
I'm 44.
Yeah, okay. I'm 42. Yeah, me
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So
Way
anyway,
younger.
yeah. So anyway, there's a hip hop station for, all the music when we were kids, and then there's like Flow, which is, I guess, today's hip hop. I don't know, man. Whatever. But we slay it. We get calls all the time. And I don't listen to any of it, but we're huge. Jacobs and Long, the anti-TV lawyers. Guess what those TV lawyers are up to today? Blah, 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 blah. And we get calls all day long on it, on this hip hop station. So I don't know. Is Kanye big? I didn't know Kanye was still around. I thought it was a joke.
Brady makes a good point. And actually, there was a Kanye story today that we talked about. But Brady makes a good point that Kanye's first 2 albums were like game changers. They were amazing.
Right.
And his last few have been very disappointing. Although there's like a track on each one where you're like, oh, okay, this is good. And Hip Hop Nation, I will say, is like waiting for when is a Kanye album going to be like one of his first 2 albums. It just hasn't
Never.
happened. So we're hoping, we, Brady, as in hip hop fans, are hoping that this is the big comeback. Kanye filed, first of all, the changing your name legally, because we can make this a legal topic. I tried to do it on the show today. Legally changing your name, why? Like, what is the point of it? And I'll say it like this: like, I get it if you're trying to hide, or if there's like legal documents or something that you have to have in a different name, whatever, I suppose. But like, if your name is William, you're not legally changing your name to Bill or Billy, right? Like that doesn't have to happen. That's just what people call you. Kanye is legally changing his name to Ye. Like, why? That's just a shortened version of his name.
I mean, legally, they're going to let you do it unless you're trying to be deceptive, or, if you're trying to mimic or copy an identity of somebody else. I'm all for it, man. You didn't get to pick your name. You want to change your name officially so that you could write Ye instead of Kanye on all official documents? Go for it, man. I'm all for anybody changing their name to whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, I remember it came out later. Like, we didn't understand it at the time. Like, Prince, when he changed his name to a symbol, was actually to get around a contract or something. Like, we didn't understand it at the time, but later we found out that was why. I don't know what. I mean, does anybody understand what Kanye ever does? I don't know.
No, but I mean, like, okay, so you said like to sign a legal document. Like, if my name is William Hill,
No. But Prince couldn't perform under the name Prince without having to give money to somebody, right?
Right.
So he changed his name to a symbol. He was performing under a symbol, right?
Right.
So he's like, okay, I'm going to now perform under this. I'm no longer Prince. I'm the symbol, and I'm continuing my career as a symbol. Right. Therefore, right? I don't know.
That was the weird Prince one. I was saying when Justin said, like, you're cool with somebody changing their name if they want to sign their legal documents with a different name and they have to change it legally, that's fine. But like, if your name's William, you can sign something Billy, right? Do you have to sign your original legal name?
No, I'm not talking about like a contract that you and I enter into. I'm talking about like your voter registration, your DMV, your Social Security applications, anything with the government. You're always going to have your legal name is going to be required to be on there. So I don't know. Maybe he wants to run for office and he doesn't want to have to put Kanye, Ye West. He just wants to be able to say Ye West.
But I guess that's the key to me, is that you're saying, like, I don't have a name that you shorten, and neither do you. Dan does, Daniel. Like you could sign like your ID, or your mortgage application. You could sign as Dan, right? It wouldn't have to be Daniel.
Oh no, well, it depends. Like, certain banks, for example, I'll give you this for example. My wife, whose name is Kimberly, used to have to sign a ton of stuff at work. So she changed her signature to K. Jacobs, right? Because she was tired of signing Kimberly. We went up to a bank one time and opened up a new account. She tried to sign it K. Jacobs. The bank was like, you got to sign it Kimberly Jacobs. And so depending on what institution you're dealing with, they'll require certain things. You go to a title company and you're signing as a power of attorney for something. I mean, the rules are all over the place. Like, good God, there were, what is it, instruments or securities? And I mean, Justin's a nerd. He remembers every dang bar exam topic on earth. What drives me nuts on these podcasts, he brings them up every time we get into an argument. So I don't remember what the class was, but we had to take classes.
Talk about secure transactions.
Yeah, secure transactions.
There you go.
And where they talk about, technically, the way you sign things, they could trip you up on things. So I mean, they're becoming less and less. But here, actually, this came up in my office today. I had to write out a check, right, to a client, and I like the number two in the box 2000, but I wrote the two of the letters bled together, but I wrote the 2000. Okay. Well, one of the guys in my office is a former banker. And I'm like, am I going to get in trouble for this? And he's like, no, it's okay, because the actual spelled out part is the legal part. The the numerals is not, they don't pay attention to that. So we were okay. So I was able to go ahead and send that off. Why am I in charge of writing checks? Good God, I don't know. I have the sloppiest handwriting on earth, but so be it.
But I think that answers actually why it is important. If you're going to change your name, you actually have to do it. That answers my question, because I never understood that you had to do that. But also, it makes sense that the spelled out part is what matters on a check, because you could easily change the digits, right? It'd be much harder to change the written out part. Like if you give me a check for 200, I can make it like 1,200, or I can put a one there. Sure. So the spelled out part being the official part is what that makes sense to me. That's good.
Might as well make it 2,000. Throw the zero on the end.
I wasn't being greedy, Justin, but okay. you are the one that cheated at wrestling.
I'm just messing around. Never happened.
I was going to tie
never happened, right?
I was going to tie these two political lawsuit stories together. Trump was sued again by the Capitol Police. The second time the Capitol Police officers have sued him. I feel like we've done this a little bit in terms of there's been several lawsuits actually against Trump, his family, against Giuliani. I don't know how that's going to play out if you want to mention that, but I think I want to tie into the other part of Trump's lawyers in Michigan are being disciplined because they filed completely frivolous and ridiculous lawsuits in the state of Michigan. I guess my question, and this is going to be obvious, there's no set answer to this, I suppose. How ridiculously awful does your claim have to be? Because you can lose lawsuits all the time. But like, how ridiculously awful does it have to be where you're like, you're in trouble for even filing this?
You want to go first, Dan, or you want me to go first on this one?
Well, I'll let you go first. I'll tell you just, I just recently, and Justin's probably done it a lot more than me, possibly. I for the first time ever asked for sanctions recently. I went up against opposing counsel. She's young, just lied all the time. And I don't know about you, Justin. I don't typically find that opposing counsel is all that difficult. Like in the old days, it was we'll fight tooth and nail. We'll do dirty tactics. Now people will advocate. They'll litigate ferociously. All that stuff is still on the table. But the dirty tricks, the lying, the deceptiveness, stuff like that, I don't see a ton of it anymore. And what I do, Justin might be different. I got involved in a case, again, a younger attorney, just lied. The attorney was just lying, filed a pleading that was just completely false on its face. There were 3 instances in there that were completely false, accused me of misconduct, and I kind of lost it. I wanted to do a couple things, took a little counsel from some colleagues. They kind of backed me down a little bit. I ultimately decided, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to file a reply. As the judge kind of said, Mr. Jacobs, if you want to respond, you need to file a reply. And I filed a reply saying, I believe this is a violation of 3 ethical rules, and I believe it's a violation of Rule 11. And I think it's also Rule 11 is basically vexatious and frivolous litigation, and you cannot file a pleading that has. Actually, it's not that. It's you can't file a pleading that has false information in it, and you have a duty to at least do cursory information to know it's not false, right? You can't file something. You at least need to do the bare minimum to know that the information in a pleading is not false. And if you don't do that, then you as the attorney can be sanctioned and have to pay fees and things like that. And I said the attorney should have known better. And I'd never done that before. And I said, gosh darn it, I'm sick of stuff like this. And so I did. And you know what happened after that? This attorney, I wouldn't say she was a pleasure to deal with, but she got her act together and she stopped that stuff. And guess what? We actually settled that case, got everything we got everything we wanted, settled it short of trial, and that case is off the docket. And I actually withdrew the sanctions. Never actually submitted the affidavit to say, hey, this is what we're owed. So it was okay. These cases, people ask for sanctions all the time. It's almost becoming commonplace. The judges, I think, are getting sick of them. It's becoming more and more common. So to answer your question, I guess I'll let Justin to speak of it. I don't know how often Justin asks for them. They're asked for a lot. I've seen in these cases, I saw in one of these cases, the judge said, in one of these election lawsuit cases, he said, not only am I dismissing this case, I'm also going to ponder whether or not I should refer you to your state bar association for further proceedings, because there's absolutely no merit to this case. It never should have been filed in the first place. So I'm not surprised in this. Sanctions happen. I've received frivolous and vexation, litigation sanctions before. This was a Rule 11 sanction. When I say I'd never requested sanctions before, I'd never requested sanctions against another attorney for their misconduct before, not sanctions for frivolous litigation before. But Justin, I'll let you respond.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what Dan's talking about, yeah, I think they get presented a lot. It's not really my cup of tea of what I do. If I think that somebody is being either intentionally or through happenstance misrepresenting something to the court, I give them a call and say, listen, I think you've misstated the facts. I think I can prove it. I need you to either correct the record, withdraw the pleading, or if you don't, depending on how the phone call goes, if they're being super defensive, no, that's not true, yada, yada, yada. Okay, I'm just giving you the heads up and the common courtesy to know that I'm going to be filing for sanctions against you. And most of the time after that phone call or in the process of that phone call, it's very rare that I have to file for sanctions. It's not zero, but it's rare. This instance with the Trump lawyers is different than that. This isn't a dispute between the two parties saying they're dirty lawyer. No, they're a dirty lawyer. This, as I read these sanctions, they are what's called sua sponte. The judge determined that this case, upon dismissal, was sanctionable due to a ethical violation of candor. An attorney is first and foremost an officer of the court. And in being an officer of the court, they owe a duty of candor to any tribunal. Now, everybody's going to say, lawyers lie in court all the time. I can't really dispute that all the way. I do think that happens from time to time. But the reality is what the ethical rules say is a couple things. Number one, I cannot contribute to my client defrauding the court. So for instance, if my client tells me, I'm going to get up there and lie about this, and I'm going to say this when you ask me that question, I cannot ask the question. I cannot participate in a fraud upon the court. If the client wants me to pursue a cause of action or a attempt to recover or a legal argument that I know there is direct precedent against that. It says this is not viable, it's not appropriate. I cannot do that. Even though my client tells me that I have to. I cannot do that because I know there is precedent that is established that has to be directly on point. And almost nothing is directly on point. I can make any case not be directly on point. Almost. I cannot do that. If I know that evidence that is being presented in court in pleadings, if I know them to be false, even though it's not my personal information, I'm presenting it through an expert, or I'm presenting it through a witness, or I'm presenting it through somebody else. If I know that that's false, I cannot present that. And so what the court said here is, lawyers, number one, you lied about what the evidence was, and you should have known it was a lie because you didn't have anything to back it up, but you went ahead and presented it as if it was fact. So you violated your duty of candor to the court. Number two, you also knew that there was direct case precedent on point that said you couldn't file the suit that you filed. And you should have known that it was dead in the water from the moment you did. And your whole intention in filing the suit was to create enough of a distraction to obtain a result outside of the court that you wanted. It was intentional to blind the court from what was really going on. And so for that reason, you violated your ethical rules and you should be sanctioned. It sounds like the court is deciding on what monetary sanctions are going to be applied, but I can guarantee you just like Dan said, there will be a referral to the state bar. Absolutely 100% for further proceedings as to whether or not their license will be suspended or whether they'll be disbarred.
So when you say, you can't knowingly present something that you know is false, is there like a percentage, like a preponderance of evidence? Like if you say, well, I'm 99% sure this dude's lying.
Well, here's the deal. You can advocate, right? Like most of the time, what people you could do is there a colorable argument, right? Like, hey, well, is there? Listen, I had a good faith basis. I'm making the argument, right? Like, and lawyers, that's what we get paid to do, is to take whatever it is to go argue our side and to really do everything we can to take our client's story and to present it in a way and to advocate as best we can and to put it in the light that the best we can. But what we can't do is just lie. We just can't make it up and lie about it. Now, we can present the facts in the best light possible. We can present it in a way to make you think, but for example, what Giuliani did, right? Like, just, they hammered Giuliani, right? Because Giuliani knew, he took video that he later was presented information to say, Giuliani, this is not what you said it was. And you presented it in court anyway, right? You took video where, I don't remember exactly what it was, where volunteers were simply, securing this stuff for the next day or whatever it was, and you took little clips of it, presented it one way before the court and to the media and all this stuff, and that is not what happened, right? That is a lie, and you cannot do that, and you just cannot present out and out falsehoods to the tribunal. You absolutely cannot do that. So if there's a gray area, you're fine. Right? It may not be, people may not like you. People may think you're, a bad lawyer joke, but you're okay. Right? But if it's an out and out falsehood that's demonstrably false, that we've seen here, that's a whole different story.
So,
to your point, that's
just as you follow up. Yeah. So if you're told, like, I guess I'll change the phrasing of this to say, if your client says, hey, I did this, then your argument has to be like a legal based one of like, hey, I'm going to find the case law that gets you out of this, not arguing that you didn't do it, right? I mean, that's how you get away with saying, hey, I know that this guy did it, but I'm still going to fight to get him not guilty. And I'm not lying. I'm just trying to find the way to get him not guilty.
Well, yeah, it's two different issues, right? So first off, any criminal, I'm assuming we're talking criminal context.
Sure.
Any criminal lawyer who allows their client to tell them whether or not they actually did it is not doing their job.
Okay.
Almost always, they will go in there and say, I don't want you to tell me if you did it or not. Because if you tell me, then I know, and I cannot present a defense that is an opposite of that. If you tell me you did it, we have no defense other than legal arguments, right? If they did an illegal search or seizure, if they did something along the way that violated your constitutional rights, well, then it doesn't matter if you did it or not. But that's a very narrow approach. I cannot present any evidence. I can't question the police officer and act as if he knew something he didn't, if I know you did it, right? Like I can't try to tell the jury that they did their investigation wrong if the investigation is right and I know it. Okay, so I mean, I don't do criminal law, but I hear, as I understand, that's like criminal law 101 is when you're prepping the client, it's like, hey, if you tell me things, you cannot then say something else in court. I cannot say something else in court. So be careful, right? Let me tell you what the process is like. Let me prep you on that. As far as the prior example, maybe I'm being extremist here, but let's go with your 99 to 1%. Like, I'm 99% sure it's a lie. There's a 1% chance it isn't, and I don't know for a fact. I think I'm allowed to present that argument. My client says this. I'm not saying that. It doesn't seem believable, but that's what the court's there for. That's what the jury's there for. Now, if it's really that extreme, 99 to 1%, what the court will do is step in and say, no reasonable jury could believe this 1% argument, so we're not even going to give it to the jury. I'm going to adjudicate this on summary judgment because it's so unbelievable. It strains credibility to allow this person to, present this argument in court, and we're not going to do it. It's a waste of judicial resources. It's not true. And that happens. That happens from time to time. But in those cases where summary judgment happens because no reasonable jury could find otherwise, that's not attorney misconduct. That's not sanctionable. It is if the attorney absolutely knows it's false, a reasonable, like Dan said earlier, a reasonable investigation of the facts would show him or her that it is false. You do have a duty to investigate. I can't just put my head in the sand, right? I think then if you know it to be false, that's where the line is drawn. But you can. You know that they did it. If you can find the legal arguments out of it, you can still do that for sure.
I was just watching a documentary the other day. This is unrelated. It just popped into my head as we're talking here. I was watching a documentary the other day, which was awesome. And I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to give away this major plot point of the documentary. It's like the #1 documentary out there right now on Netflix. So I don't want to give away this major plot point. But the defendants paid off 3 jurors to just really cause chaos in the jury room and just be like, we're never finding him guilty, so we can stay here as long as you guys want. It's either a hung jury or you guys are going to switch your vote to not guilty. And they ended up convincing the entire jury to just go, all right, not guilty. We're not going to sit here forever. So they paid off these guys. So they got found not guilty of this crime. And then do you know the documentary? Okay. But my question is, so the prosecutors found they found the evidence of it. They prosecuted the jurors and the defendants for the jury tampering. But I was thinking, they didn't really explain it. They went on trial again. They didn't really explain it. But I was like, how can you try somebody again that was found not guilty?
Well, they probably didn't. They didn't probably try. Well, first off, They probably didn't charge them for the same crime. Maybe they charged for different crimes. Maybe they appeal. You can appeal, right? So maybe there was an appeal, and they said, well, they won the appeal, so then they could try him again, right?
Okay. Right.
So maybe that's maybe likely. It's hard for us to.
Right.
It's always hard when you ask us questions as
I know.
lawyers and we don't
know.
have all the facts, and then you ask us to to give you an
Yeah.
opinion.
How'd this happen? You don't know.
yeah,
You don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. So you only give us a little snippet of facts.
Sure.
But I will say this. I want to say this on what Justin said, because I do practice criminal law. I don't operate that same way, but I get to choose my clients. I trained under Jerry Spence, who most people would agree was probably the most effective trial lawyer in the history of America. And he lost like one trial ever, right? And his biggest thing was you never want to lose credibility. And so his thing was not don't tell me. His thing was we want to know. And his thing was psychodrama. Like in fact, there's a big rift between I studied in what he created, what was called the Trial Lawyers College, and you spend hours and hours and hours on your big cases with clients doing psychodrama, and you learn every single detail of their story. You go so deep, you're like, man, is this even necessary? Like, I don't even know about this stuff, but you learn every single detail of their story, so that you never lose one shred of credibility with the jury, because what likely happens in almost every single criminal case is, maybe your defendant did something, but it's not what they're telling you. The prosecutors are telling you they did. They've almost certainly been overcharged, and it's probably not everything that the state is telling you that they've done, and it's certainly not everything that the cop has said that they've done. And it's, you can go down all these roads, and if you've kept your credibility the entire time, then you have a shot with that jury, right? And if you can show that you're credible and that the state is not, then you're okay. But if you're burying your head in the sand and saying, well, don't tell me, then I don't want to know. I don't want to know if you're guilty. Just let me, present an argument no matter what. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I want to present it. You get yourself in trouble. Now, if you're a public defender, you're dealt some pretty hard cases. But even if they're guilty, then you still get to tell their story. And for example, I had Justin, you'll like this. I had a hunting trial, right? And I lost the trial, right? And I felt really bad about it. But I told the heck out of that story, right? It was a possession by a previous offender, right? He was not out hunting, but they said that, we're going to find him guilty anyway. But it was constructive possession, right? But I told the heck out of that story, and the prosecutor asked for 3 years, and the jury found him guilty, but the judge sentenced him. The prosecutor asked for 3 years. The judge wound up sentencing him to probation. So the story got told. I retained my credibility, and the prosecutor, who went for blood, wanted 3 years in prison. So the story was still effective. I retained my credibility, even though my client was, quote, guilty. So that's the way the system works. Hopefully, if you're effective and you retain your credibility, even if I think the original question was, well, what if your client's guilty? What if he's told you he's done it? Whatever. So hopefully, if you retain your credibility, you can still get good outcomes.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously I've only done civil trials, and I absolutely subscribe to what Dan's saying about knowing every little detail. And, part of maintaining my credibility with the jury is having a believable relationship with my client, that it doesn't look like we've met for the first time out in the hallway and then we walked in there. Like I know who they are. I know what makes them tick. I know where they grew up. I know what they did for a living. I know them, and I know what's important to them and what they're really trying to get out of it. And I can relay that with credibility to the jury. I just wonder on the criminal side, because I've never done it, but you're a public defender that just got assigned a murder trial, and you go in, the guy's like, yeah, I did it. And I did it because, because I was angry at him because he texted my girlfriend. So there's no viable defense. There's no fucking story you could tell there,
Well,
right?
well, first off, there's heat of passion, right? So you can go from first degree down to second or third degree, right? And then
Not heat of passion for a text. They can't get heat of passion for a text. You gotta catch them in the act. You gotta be there while they're. You can't get heat of passion.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. We'll have to go through. I mean, what are the circumstances? But then there's also mitigation. There's mitigation for sentencing, right? So what's he going to get? If he's guilty, he's guilty. I mean, it's not necessarily, the system has to work. Like if he killed somebody, it's not always about, as a criminal defense attorney, justice is justice. It's not always about, if he murdered somebody, he should probably go to prison, right? Or he should get a sentence. But what sentence should he get? Right? As a public defender, it's a really tough job.
Yeah.
It's not always about winning and getting the person off. Right. But it's about getting, a fair and just sentence. And a lot about what a public defender does is telling that story to either the judge or the jury or whatever and saying, hey, yeah, this person did something bad, but look at what got this person to this point. And look what this person has been through all the way up to this person's life. And so before you do whatever you're going to do to this person, and before you judge this person as harshly as you think you can, consider this, and this, and then make your decision. Yeah. So that's a lot of what a public defender does.
Well, that's a lot of what a public defender would like the opportunity to do, right? But public defenders' dockets, do they really allow a public defender the same opportunity to get to know a client, present a story, right? The ABA recommends a caseload for public defenders somewhere in the 100 to 150 cases max, right? In Clark County, Nevada, average public defender is over 300. So, how could you really effectively get to know each of your clients as a public defender and tell a reasonable story? I get what you're saying about, like, the point is to ensure that there's fair justice administered. But I don't know, because I don't play in those waters, but I have a partner at my firm who was a public defender for 9 years, and he thinks that the system is set up with inequities from the word go, and there's really not a fair judicial system for all people, regardless of means and what have you. At least in Clark County, Nevada, and most of the United States, I think most public defenders are sort of saddled with those same sort of restrictions, which is, the district attorney has abundance of resources and time, and the public defender has nearly none of that. And so, how do you tell that story? How do you effectively get down to the root of those things so that sort of is fair? I think we're talking in theories a lot that aren't really practically possible, in most cases. So anyway, yeah.
Well, I'm not going to sit there and we're on the same side on this issue for sure. So I'm not gonna debate you on it. And Colorado has probably the best. The time I was a public defender, Colorado probably has the best public defender system in the nation. We pay our public defenders very well. I think ours started at $48,000 a year. Where I went to law school, well, I went to law school in Kansas, but right across the border in Missouri, I think they start at like $24,000 for a full-time public defender. I mean, it's unbelievable. We get to do student practice. Like, I practiced in law school. I had my own docket. Like, we got to do trials and manage our own dockets and do cases. And I mean, it's an amazing system in Colorado. Other places, it's just it's not good.
So if you're poor and want to commit a crime, you're saying come to Colorado?
I did not say that, Adam. Why would you say that, something like that?
I don't know. That's what I heard.
Well, you heard wrong.
Okay. Just making sure.
Don't commit crimes, Adam.
Also, don't have a dog in Colorado, apparently. Just to go with that segue. Loveland, Colorado. First of all, where is Loveland?
Just a little bit north. It's between. That's actually where I was a public defender. Actually,
There you go.
I got a lot of people off in Loveland. Actually,
That's a drop.
Soundbite.
yeah. Oh no. Off. Yes. So, but it's right between here and that's also where Balloon. Well,
Balloon Boy?
Balloon Boy was in Fort Collins actually, but it was right around the time I was a public defender as well. Remember the Balloon Boy?
Of course.
But yeah, it's right there.
Good family. Good family.
Yeah, the Heenies.
Yes. So in Loveland, Colorado, the police department is being sued because a police officer shot a family dog. It is a fairly complicated case, I feel like. I watched the video. There's a family. They had pulled into an empty lot. They thought it was just an empty lot. It looks like maybe they were there just like, hey, this is empty. We're going to let our dogs run around a little bit in this empty lot. But it wasn't completely empty because the owner of the lot was watching a security camera and called the police and said, hey, somebody's on my lot. So the police show up. There's this family and the two dogs. The cop gets out of the car, like, hey, what are you doing? This seems a little aggressive, but what's going on here? And one of the dogs, did you watch the video?
I didn't, but why would that be aggressive for a cop to get a call to a scene, get out of the car and say, hey, what's going on?
His voice was a bit aggressive for what
you're saying in the video. Okay.
Yeah, what the situation looked like. I was like, listen, I'm wrong because a police officer, you know that they have to treat every situation like it's but these are just people hanging out with their dogs in a lot. And it seemed like he was coming up on like a crime scene of some sort. So he's there and one of the dogs runs in his direction. Now, I will say watching the video and having dogs, I don't think the dog was running after the guy to like go after him. The dog was like running in his direction, almost like, hey, here's somebody to play with. And he was kind of running to the side of him. The officer shoots the dog and kills it. Also, as the woman sobs and says, you just shot my dog, I need to take him to the vet. The officer's like, oh, no. You got to wait here. We got to sort this whole thing out. This is a crime scene, essentially, because you're loitering on this property. That was the part I had a problem with. Like, dude, once you shoot the dog, let them take the dog to the vet. Like, what's going on? But it is complicated. The officer, could say, I think it's reasonable to say he thought the dog might be attacking him. It sucks. It's terrible. I would be devastated. But I understand that if you're a cop, you can't have a dog running after you. And he said, the cop said to the guy in the video, to the owner of the dog, the guy, he said, that's just like the same as a suspect running at me with a knife. And the guy goes, are you saying the dog had a knife? Which was funny. But it sucks. The whole thing sucks. But what happens? A cop shoots a dog. I feel like nothing's going to happen here, but the people want some sort of revenge.
No, he was definitely. I hate it. I actually had a friend this happened to about 15 years ago. This happened. This has happened a lot here in Colorado, but the cop will 100% have, and the department, they'll have qualified immunity. He was 100% acting within the scope of his employment for sure. There was no misconduct here. Was he, indifferent? Would you hoped he may have been? I haven't seen the video, but would you hoped maybe it would have been, a better outcome? Sure, but I mean, there's absolutely zero chance. Unless some departments, Denver Police Department at one point had a policy where they always threw just a little, go away money at people. I think that's less common nowadays. No, I think there's zero chance they'll get much out of this at all.
Yeah, I'll even go a step further and say, even if there was misconduct, I don't know what the laws are in Colorado in regards to the negligent or intentional killing of a pet, but in Nevada, they are, let's say, not favorable to pet owners. Basically, you can make a claim for up to $5,000 in vet bills. So there's no, I'm sad, I grieve the loss of a family member of the dog. There's no pain and suffering. You can claim for somebody who wrongfully, either negligently or intentionally kills your dog from a civil standpoint, to sue them, that's what you're limited to on damages. Now, if somebody kills your dog wrongfully, it's crime. There may be criminal conduct that can come down. But so let's just say, in this instance, a jury agrees and says, we believe that he was wrong. He was negligent in thinking that the dog was coming at him. They somehow get around the qualified immunity, which they never would. I agree with Dan. There's nothing that's ever going to happen here. The damages would be so low that it wouldn't even be worth pursuing in the first place.
Now, hold on while we're on the topic, because a couple weeks ago, my dog had destroyed my floors.
We saw that. Yes.
This was 2 days ago. We're getting serious here. He ripped open my this is gonna be a bad video.
Oh,
the barbecue, the charcoal and stuff, man. I don't know. Well, I think I took him out of the picture there. There's my monster smoker. He started got into the barbecue supplies. This is not acceptable. What's he doing, man? Come on.
You should take him to a cop in Loveland.
Yeah, I know. That's just cruel. My wife texted me this like yesterday or the day before. I'm like, why would he do that? What's he doing? What interest does he have in like my bag of premium charcoal? That I have to go special and get.
Is he a puppy or is he?
Yeah. He's a bulldog boxer mix. The daughter lobbied for this puppy relentlessly for months and months and months. Oh, welcome. I'll do. It just never happens. She just.
Puppies are terrible. Man.
And it's one thing when I got, I'm going to have to do, I don't know, $5,000 worth of new floors. You start messing with the barbecue, we got issues. I'm just saying.
Oh, to wrap things up, sorry to go back on the to the Loveland dog story. The real most important part of this, the lawyer that is bringing the suit against the police, pretty hot. That's all that really mattered from this whole story. Very hot lawyer. So good for them finding her. Yeah, don't fret about the dog. He'll get better.
Oh, the dog survived?
No, I'm saying your dog.
The dog that got shot by the police
my
officer
dog.
is going to get better?
No, my dog.
Your dog. I'm going back.
Around here?
Yeah, your dog.
Stark, come.
Your dog.
You around here?
Yeah, my dog finally, he just hangs out. He's actually out there. I think you can see him back there on his little dog bed. So,
just chilling.
He's just,
not
I get it all backwards. Yeah, back right by the door back there, just laying down. It took 2.5 years, but we got him there.
There you go. I read about a lawsuit today. I know Dan was interested in it too. I'm sad because actually a story I read tonight was basically like, this suit's not going to go anywhere. So I've already seen the answers from some lawyers. I want to get your take, however. Many people remember the Nirvana cover, Nevermind, the album cover with a naked baby reaching for a $20 bill in the pool. Iconic album cover. The kid is now 30, which is sad. He's an old man now. It's ridiculous that it's been so long since that album came out. But he is suing essentially everyone on the planet. Anyone that was involved in making the album, all the artists, all the production company, the album designer, everyone.
A dude that was in the band before the album came out and then left the band.
He's suing Kurt Cobain, who's been dead for like 25 years. Suing Courtney Love, suing everyone. He is claiming sexual exploitation of being the naked baby. He said that his parents never signed, or his legal guardians have said, never signed permission to go on there. I have a hard time believing any company put out a picture of a naked baby without getting permission from the parents. That seems insane. But if there is no agreement, if there's nothing signed here giving them permission to use this, does he have a case?
I thought about Justin today again because Mr. Law School, overachiever. I thought there was something we learned, the doctrine of latches. And Justin, the doctrine of latches, I can't, do they apply that anymore today? I'll only say a couple things. I mean, obviously in the article, they actually have a quote from him saying, yes, my dad's buddy was a photographer. He said, bring him on down. We'll dunk him. And I think they chose me because my, penis was showing, and I'm glad they chose me. And he's gone and done. He's gotten the benefit of this. He said, I'm glad they chose me. He's made money off this. He's gotten publicity off this. And it's been 30 years. Now, I don't know if they had a signed release or not. They obviously will have testimony that, yes, they gave permission. I can't imagine this is going anywhere. I know there was testimony, or there was opinions in the articles from other attorneys saying, no, this is not going anywhere. Mr. Watkins, if you please.
Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere. I mean, they're going to be able to. There's no way they took the photo and put it on the album cover without a release. The fact that he had to go to this location and the parents had to put him in the pool. The whole purpose for why he was in the pool and under the water was to take the photo for the album cover. So even if there is no written release, I would imagine that any reasonable jury would say you went through a heck of a lot of steps to do something that you knew was going to end up in this situation. That's released. We have a potential statute of limitations, doctrine of latches issue associated with this, but that's actually tricky these days because a lot of states have gone back in the last 10 years and said for sexual abuse, sexual exploitations of minors, we have found that the society has found that they are not ready to talk about that the day they turn 18. And so the statute of limitations is inappropriate to be 2 years from the age they're 18 because thanks to cases like Boy Scouts of America and the Catholic Diocese about sexual abuse and rape and exploitation, we found that these kids weren't able to talk about this stuff until they were 30, 40, 50 years old after a lot of therapy. And so, for instance, in the state of Nevada, we changed the law that says you can, if you were a victim of sexual abuse as a minor, you have 20 years from the day that you turn 18. And that 20 years gets extended another 20 years from the date there's any criminal action. So if the criminal action takes place on year 19, you've got 39 years to bring a cause of action. California has said if you're sexually exploited or sexually abused as a minor, there is no statute of limitations. Bring it whenever you're ready. Now, very unlikely if I don't even know what state it was, California, that this happened in, or maybe was it California?
Yeah.
Okay. So California changed their law, but what you don't do when you change that law is you don't get to go retroactively. That these laws are not applied retroactively, and it's very unlikely that his claim would be in the category of the ones that got extended. Now, New York has done a one recently that's a little bit unique. And what it said is it created a new cause of action for anybody who was sexually abused as a minor and left it open for 1 year to avoid the retroactivity. They created a new cause of action. So everybody who had already blown the statute of limitations could do it for a year. You had one chance. And then that cause of action was gone, is off the books. It doesn't even exist anymore. So there are ways around it, but California's law, I know for a fact, was not retroactive. So in order to survive a claim for violation of statute of limitations, he would have to claim that there was an attempt to conceal the exploitation and that he only recently became aware of the exploitation on the basis that it had been concealed. I can't imagine that. It's one of the most famous photos on any album cover that ever existed. So how are you going to claim that you didn't know that you have been exploited as a naked baby in a pool?
And he's out doing press.
Yeah, I don't see a viable claim here. But
but Justin, here's what I was thinking. Like, we're talking about sanctions and frivolous lawsuits and things like that. I mean, Justin, would you have filed this suit?
I don't know. I never met the person, right? So like I'd have to hear all the circumstances that come about it. Would I take the phone call? I'd take the phone call. And then I'd say, okay, I'd ask all these questions that we're describing that lead me to believe that there's about a 0% chance there's a case. But every once in a while, you never know. You never know what, I don't know, their family relationship. Maybe their parents were divorced and one parent consented and one didn't. I don't know. There could be some
But you do know that he's in the press saying, "I'm glad they chose me," and this and that. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, well, I'm assuming I don't know that yet, right? Like, I'm going to gather facts. Would I listen to it, gather facts? Yeah. Am I filing it? Probably. Very, very unlikely not, because I don't. It's going to hurt my reputation as much as it's going to look silly when the case gets dismissed and thrown out of court. But I do like those outside the box cases. I like having to try to figure out if there is a viable claim or how to get around stuff. So I do. We get weird calls like that, and I do listen to them. I hear them out.
So I have two favorite parts of this story. One is that this.
Wait,
story,
Adam, your hat's crooked. Adam, your hat's crooked. Straighten it out.
I turned it that way.
Come on, Carmelo.
My two favorite parts of the story. One is that it has been reported by every news site, every blog, every site in the entire world right now, and every single one is using the photo of him from the album cover. So good job getting everyone to see it who has never seen it before, even if that's the case, because now everybody's seeing your stupid photo, kid. So good work there. But the other part is that there is a claim in here that says it's not just a photo. It's sexual exploitation because he was made to look like a sex worker because he's grabbing for money.
Okay.
If you remember, it's the $20 bill is floating and he's trying to grab it.
I remember.
Yeah.
Here's the only one thing I would say for this. If this is true, that I would feel bad for, and shame on Kurt Cobain and Nirvana. If this is true, who knows if it is or not? Did they really only pay that family $200?
Well, I don't think Nirvana wasn't like a major band at the time.
Well, yeah, but you can do the right thing. There's no statute of limitations on doing the right thing.
Go back and pay them now that the album's made $1 billion.
Right. Right.
But Kurt Cobain died.
What's the right thing? What's the right thing amount, Dan?
I don't know. You're the big time civil attorney. Tell me.
$500,000.
Yeah. Go back. I was watching last night that movie Acrimony by Tyler. Is it Tyler Perry? His battery hits after he's divorced. He gives her $10 million, buy the mom's house back. Right? He did the right thing. You guys know.
Sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about. But
So
okay.
there's a movie. Adam, you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I've never seen it.
Oh, it's great movie. So it's a movie. The two people are married. So she takes care of the man, and he's working on a battery, right? And he cheated on her one time when they were in college. She takes him back. She takes him in. She pours everything into him, and he's just a hard luck case, right? But he's working on a battery, and she's got her mama's house, and he can just never get it right. And on the last day, he gets an offer for $800,000 for the battery, but he blows this deal with the brother-in-laws, and the sister's always nagging her, and he gets offered $800,000 for the battery. He turns it down, and so the sisters convince her to dump him. Yada yada yada. So she divorces him, leaves him penniless. He's working as a dishwasher. Well, then 3 months later, the battery hits. He goes back. He gives her $10 million. He marries the other lady, but he buys the house back. She loses the house, gives her the $10 million, this and that. Well, now she stalks him and goes crazy. And, it's a psycho movie. It's a stalker movie.
Okay.
But he did the right thing.
Terrible.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's Tyler Perry's Acrimony, man. What are you guys? You guys aren't hip enough. You aren't hip like me.
Hold on. This is not 1997. Tyler Perry's not hip.
That was like that was like 3 years ago, dude. Brady, can we get a ruling? Come on.
I will say this. I cannot stand Tyler Perry. So I'm probably not gonna see the movie. Not my guy.
Dude, this was like 3 years ago. I just watched it.
That makes it worse, not better.
It may have been during the pandemic. I don't even know. The years go past.
Pandemic movie? Oh,
it was in theaters. It was in theaters, man.
I'm too busy watching
the worst movie ever.
No, it was awesome.
So
I think it won the Academy Award for most
No.
awesome movie of the year.
Yeah, like no, most awesome.
2019.
You're thinking of the MTV Movie Award.
No,
the Golden Popcorn.
Now we're going to Google.
A Razzie. It maybe won. I'm too busy watching documentaries about cocaine kingpins paying off juries. That's what I watch.
Acrimony is a 2018, fellas, okay. American psychological thriller, filmed, produced, and written by Tyler Perry. The film stars Taraji Henson. Maybe you've heard of her. She's very hot and popular these days. Very hot and popular. Just so you know.
What's it called? I'm going to do the authority on this here.
It received generally negative reviews, then grossed $46 million nationwide. But she looks good.
That's all it made the whole time?
She looks pretty good there, though.
Oh, my God.
What's the Rotten Tomatoes rating?
You want to guess?
Oh, there it is, 17%. That's
17%. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen rated on Rotten Tomatoes. That's amazing. That's
one of the lowest
awesome.
numbers I've ever heard. It's really hard to get into the teens, man. So
I actually might want to watch it now.
I know.
What movie can get a 17%? I got to find out.
I like how Dan throws it out like it's just common knowledge. You know, it's like Acrimony, the movie. Nobody knows what the hell you're talking about.
Hold on. Angels in the Outfield had a 34? Come on. Come on.
You guys just aren't familiar with the African American cinema. That's all. I'm more cultured than you. That's all.
I will say this, which I have not said at all on air anywhere. On Saturday nights, if you're going to get into that, I was at a booth with Tiffany Haddish, and I was trying to make the connection there.
What do you mean a booth?
At a club. We're in the same booth.
You were at the bottle service with Tiffany Haddish?
We're in the same. Yeah, we're in the same booth.
What does that mean? The same booth?
We had mutual acquaintances.
Okay.
It was a big booth. First of all, there was like 14 people.
Okay.
So it's not like it was like 4 people and she was one. I'm just saying you're going with the black cinema angle. I was like, I gave it a good go, but she was having none of it.
Yeah, she did not like you. She didn't care for you. That's what you're saying. She wanted none of it. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. But
she's like, check, please.
Essentially, yeah, yes. That's what happened. But if you're claiming black cinema, I'm going to go with my own brush with black cinema from the weekend.
That's your credit. That's you getting credibility for black cinema.
He's name dropping. First off, you're name dropping, and second, you're confirming exactly everything I just said.
I got shot down by Tiffany Haddish. That's what I'm saying. Yes, that happened.
That establishes your credibility on black cinema.
Yeah.
More than claiming Acrimony as a solid piece of black cinema, I feel like.
False. Dan wins this round by a lot.
17%
among white people.
It was good.
Rotten Tomatoes was run by the guys from South Park.
Among white people, did they just buy the restaurant?
Yes, they just bought Casa Bonita.
Casa Bonita, that's good. We can wrap things up here. Actually, we don't really have to get anything else. You guys have anything you need to talk about or plug or tell people about?
I feel like that was the highlight of the whole podcast.
It was my brief brush with Tiffany Haddish.
No, that was the low light. The highlight was Dan thinking that anybody knew what the hell Acrimony was.
so true. Where did you watch it? I'm gonna try to find it now.
Well, it was on TV last night. I actually was watching it. Had to take my daughter somewhere, so I hit record and watched it again. The rest when I got back. It's almost like Shawshank Redemption. You have to watch it again.
Hold on. Do not ever
Not like
fucking
Shawshank.
compare. Don't fucking compare Acrimony to Shawshank ever again. Please.
It's like Forrest Gump. Every time it's on, you got to watch it
Yeah.
all the way through.
You got Shawshank, Forrest Gump, Acrimony with, Taraji P. Henson. Wasn't she the mom in like Benjamin Button and stuff? I think she was.
I didn't watch that either, by the way.
Jesus Christ. Come on,
Me neither.
Hold on.
What are you guys?
At least that was famous. No, then I do have it does fit. Like, I don't watch things that can't happen.
Oh,
So
my God. Oh,
so I definitely didn't watch Benjamin Button.
Or Star Wars or Indiana Jones or nothing. Oh,
never seen any of those.
I've watched Moneyball and
I watched Moneyball last week.
Jesus
Again, for like the 7th time.
I watched Miracle and Moneyball and sports documentaries. That's all I've seen in my entire life.
I just talked about it.
And I sat in a booth with Tiffany Haddish.
I did.
She hated my guts.
She shot me down. Actually, she just ignored me, which is even worse. I watched the documentary about the cocaine kingpins.
Oh my God.
I do watch a lot of documentaries. That's kind of.
I haven't seen The Godfather either.
You have what?
No, never seen
You
The
live in
Godfather.
Las Vegas, dude.
Never watched. I've seen Casino.
Casino. I love
great.
Casino, man.
Yeah.
Casino.
I watched Goodfellas, but I have not watched Godfather. Have not watched any Star Wars movies or Star Trek movies. I don't know the difference between the two, but I haven't watched either.
This is difference between what? Which two?
Star Wars and Star Trek. Right? There's a Star Trek
God.
movie too, right?
They're the same to me.
Yes, there are.
Exactly.
There are, in fact, Star Trek movies. Yes, in fact, there are.
Okay.
Like
I haven't seen either.
15 of them. Yes.
And Brady already answered this one, but Martin says Rudy is Adam's favorite film. That's false because, as I've said before on the show, Rudy is a piece of shit as a human being. So no, that's not my favorite movie at all.
Oh my
God! I think that's what Brady was alluding to when he said, "I hear Rudy is a great guy."
Are we talking about Giuliani or the other guy?
No, Rudy Rudiger.
Rudiger.
Okay, yeah.
Las Vegas resident Rudy Rudiger, who is
he's in Las Vegas?
Henderson, but yeah, just a piece of shit.
Yes. Really?
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
What do you have against Rudy?
He's an asshole.
Why?
Because he thinks he's Rudy.
He is Rudy. What are you talking about?
Okay, you don't have to live every fucking day of your life like you're Rudy.
Well, yeah, of course you do. What else would you do?
You
You don't think Micah Ruzioni runs around saying I'm Micah Ruzioni?
Hey,
and treating everybody else
shot down by Tiffany Haddish. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
probably true. She probably, and it's not just. That is tough. It's not just thinking you're Rudy, because I guess technically he is Rudy.
Yes, he is Rudy.
Treating everyone else like they're not Rudy.
Nobody else is Rudy.
Sure.
All you are doing is spitting out truths and being mad about them. I don't understand what's going on here.
You also know what I mean by that. Like, oh, there's a long line at the bank? I'm Rudy. Like, okay, Rudy, the fucking back of the line. Who gives a fuck, Rudy? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
I mean, nobody else here is Rudy. I can't help if they're fans of me in the movie. I just go to the front of the line.
You're who? I'm Rudy. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Go to the back of the line.
You should have seen the commotion that Adam made at the press box at the Avs night series. I couldn't believe it.
The commotion?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, where's my seat? I'm Adam Hill. I work for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. I want a seat and a pre-box meal now.
100% not true.
Otherwise, the bylaw. Otherwise, this story we'll talk all about Grubauer and nothing about the guy that's getting traded in the offseason.
Yeah, Fleury. In fact, I think you were there one night where I got to my seat. Somebody was using it. And I was
because
like,
you showed up after the jumper left, and you showed up on the second period.
No, I showed up as the national anthem was playing because we were on the air until 20 minutes before the game started. But yeah, it's somebody who's in my seat, and I just walk back and let them have my seat until the game started.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do.
You show up fashionably late. Other people are going to take your seat, man.
Fashionably late. I almost did in the Raiders press room. We kind of have our assigned seats, but they're not formally assigned. And I will call him out, Vince Sapienza from Channel 5. If somebody is watching, you can tell them. That's my seat, bro. No, I just quietly went to another spot and sat
I'm Adam Hill.
Yeah.
You are not Vince Sapienza. Get out.
Exactly. So
you are not Rudy. I mean, Adam Hill.
Vince, you decide to show up at a training camp practice like a month and a half into practice. You have to wait your turn for a seat. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying right now. But in the Golden Knights press box, I was cool. I was very cool. That'll do it. What people to follow you, Twitter? What do you got any grilling stories for us before we leave?
Other than the dog ripping into my charcoal and taking his life into his own hands, no.
Okay.
We're good. I'm hosting the Broncos post game this weekend, Saturday night.
Nice.
So Teddy Bridgewater, folks. I'm sorry, Raiders fans, you're in trouble. You guys may have had a glimmer of hope in the AFC West when Drew Lock was there, but now you have no. All hope has died over there at the Darth Vader Stadium. It's now Teddy Bridgewater time, and AFC West it's in our clutches now. The Denver Broncos.
Did the Chiefs plane crash?
Sorry, Drew, Mr. Petro. Sorry, it's dude. Have you seen our roster? We're loaded. We got the top. We got the best defense, in the National Football League. We have the best left tackle now, dude. Have you seen our receiving? Dude, it's over. It's over. Okay, mail it in. You guys can go through the motions and have your fun. The Denver Broncos are here to stay. It's over.
And the Broncos and the Raiders and the Chargers are all competing for second. It's gonna be real. It's gonna be a fun season.
Come on, man. Tom Brady exposed the Chiefs. They're done. It's over.
I asked the question today. I'll ask both of you guys. We'll close on football here. If I tell you today, Patrick Mahomes plays all 17 games, there's no chance of injury, nothing like that. He's playing in all 17 games. Is the division clinched right now?
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
I think so too. Like there's literally nothing.
Well, I'm not. Yes.
Yeah.
It's over. Wait, Justin, are you going to the Monday Night Football game?
No.
Are you going to any games this year?
Not unless somebody gives me tickets for free.
What about the Battleborn suite, man? I'm looking for seats for the Dolphins game.
If Battleborn buys any tickets to any NFL games, it'll be at SoFi Stadium watching the Chargers.
There you go. Good news. Justin, people know how to get a hold of you, but Battleborn Injury Lawyers.
Hey, have you seen have our trucks come by you yet? Have you seen the trucks out there?
I did see a truck. I can't remember where I saw it though.
Yeah, all around, baby.
That's awesome.
Oh, is that thing we were talking about?
Yep.
Okay.
Trucks, they're out and about, baby.
I got to talk to you about that.
Signs are awesome.
I own the trucks. If the truck hits you, so you can still call me. I'm just advertising on the truck.
Is that your plan, to get enough trucks on the road to cause more accidents and then you get more clients?
It's not my plan, but if it happens, I'm not going to turn down the call.
It's a good investment. I like it. Hit up Justin, Twitter, Battleborn, wherever you want to go. Oh, I forgot one more thing. Justin actually was going to make a big announcement about a restaurant tonight, so he's going to say...
No, it wasn't. September 22nd.